when all this was going on in the year 1830, Europe saw a great economic hardship. When hardships were going on economically, it meant unemployment was increasing. It meant that people did not have sufficient to eat. That meant that there was agricultural depression. That meant that industrially they could not pick up. And in 1848 in France, the biggest picture that came forward was that when France was undergoing such an economic stagnation, their unemployment had increased, food shortages were there, the people actually marched forward and they revolted against the present king. If you remember, from Louis XVI, they had actually placed Louis Philippe on the throne, who was not an absolute monarch, but who was a constitutional monarch. When people revolted here, that means again the other countries of Europe had become alarmed. The weavers in Silesia also revolted against the contractors in 1845. That is, they demanded better money. They wanted that they should be given better opportunities, better working conditions. And when all this was happening, they even threatened their contractors and sometimes entered their houses and destroyed the luxurious houses that they had. And most of the contractors had to flee from their place, and when they asked and demanded shelter in the neighboring areas, they were denied. Of course, the after effect of it was seen on the weavers themselves, who were shot, but all this was to show that the people of Europe now were ready to pick up arms against any kind of autocracy or any kind of injustice which they would, if ever, face. Therefore, this age is called as the age of revolution. That is, the people were revolting not only against their present autocratic kings, but against their own employers, against their own landlords, against their own people who actually had turned autocratic in any manner. They also started with a revolution of the liberals. Now, this liberalism is actually connected with the middle class. As I told you earlier, the middle class which had emerged was very liberal in nature. It was such a kind of government that they were looking for, wherein everybody was equal in the eyes of law. But these liberals could not continue with their revolution and their set of government for a very long, because the conservatives overpowered them. So this upheaval, this confusion, chaos which was prevalent in Europe during 1830 to 48, when people were setting up democratic government and again restoring the old regime and then again coming back to the new form of government by various factors, people actually is called as the age of revolution. I continue with the rest of the chapter in the next clipping.